I'm here with the human soldier again. Actually, I'm going to show you another great use for Adrenaline Rush. The build is very much the same. I've still got Adrenaline Rush working for shields, so I've got hardening in the first evolution, melee damage, then shield boost. Still sticking with my frag grenades, they're spec the same as well, damage, bleed damage, shield overload. And Alliance training is where I've changed a bit. I'm not carrying a gun as heavy as the Claymore, so I don't really have to worry about Adrenaline Rush's recharge speed. So I can take that weapon damage in the first evolution, then I go for power damage and weapon damage again. And then finally, fitness is all health and shields, durability, shield recharge, fitness expert. Okay, so the build's very much the same, but you're going to see how different the gameplay can be, because Adrenaline Rush has two very good uses. In the last video, I showed you how you can you can basically double the clip of some of those very powerful weapons, which obviously do suffer with a small clip size, or sort of yeah, it is a small clip size. Obviously, you've got a lot of one-shot weapons that do a lot of power in that single shot, and then you can obviously squeeze another one out of it. But what I'm also going to look at now is how you can really squeeze some great potential out of those guns with a ramp up. Ramp-up guns are those ones that basically they start off firing quite slow, and then and weak, and then they'll pick up speed, and they'll start the fire rate will increase significantly, and they'll do a lot more damage. What would normally happen in a situation with this gun is you'd run out of ammo, and then you'd be forced to reload, and then you'd have to ramp up all over again. What you can do with Adrenaline Rush essentially is you can bypass the whole manual reload and just refill your clip while you're fully ramped up, and just keep firing at maximum capacity then. So you're really going to squeeze the most damage you can out of your spare clips essentially. The gun I'm going to be using is the Striker assault rifle. This is a gun that's overlooked quite a lot, and there are some fair reasons to it. It does suffer from a very small clip size for considering what it does. It is one of those ramp-up guns. Its ramp-up speed is not too fast, so you can lose quite a bit of ammo before you're really doing maximum damage. The damage isn't great, but what it does do really, and it's got a lot of kick. That's a big turn off for a lot of people. But what it does do really well is it just staggers every enemy constantly. This thing essentially fires just grenades, not in like the Falcon sensor. It sort of bounces them on the ground. This just sort of just literally projects grenades straight at the enemy, and they explode on contact. This of course means it's a projectile weapon, so you're no good with piercing. I am going to recommend the magazine upgrade to take care of that small clip size and the extended barrel. Other guns that were going to work really great though, not the particle rifle. I mean, the particle rifle is one of the best. I think it is the best ramp-up gun. It really is. But it's a beam weapon, and I don't believe Adrenaline Rush works on it. I think Adrenaline Rush has very much the same effect as a thermal clip pack does, because obviously you can overheat the particle rifle because its ammo just recharges. But if you ever overheat it, there's a very long reload animation that you can get stuck in. If you take a thermal clip pack, then it will basically bypass the whole cooldown process and just start recharging again, so that you won't you won't get a full clip. You'll just start recharging. So I think Adrenaline Rush does the same thing. So you're never going to be able to extend the clip size of the particle rifle with this Adrenaline Rush, unfortunately. But you can do that with the Typhoon. Okay, the Typhoon's got a massive clip, and it obviously is incredibly powerful too. So you can obviously go nuts with the Typhoon. Mine's only level 4, but I imagine at level 10 you could probably, on certain small maps, if you were to hit every ammo box, you could shoot the whole match without ever taking your finger off the trigger there, just hitting Adrenaline Rush and just firing the Typhoon at full damage constantly. I'm not going to take it though. Obviously it's going to it's a very heavy gun. It's incredibly heavy actually, and that's going to really reduce the amount of time I can use Adrenaline Rush. And it doesn't have any stopping power. The Striker is full of stopping power, and as you're a human, you're incredibly squishy, so you know, you can try to outgun the enemy, but if they shoot back at you, you're going to go down. So that's the reason I'm not going to go with a Typhoon on this build. Unfortunately, I've tried it. It's got great potential, but it's forces you to play a much more defensive game, which I'm not a fan of. I do like to get right in the thick of it, as you might know by now. So I'm going to stick with the Striker. Another ramp-up gun, which I know for a fact that you can absolutely shoot on pretty much any map without ever taking your finger off the trigger, is the Geth Plasma SMG. You stick a magazine upgrade and a heatsink mod on there, and its capacity is just huge, and basically you'll be able to do Adrenaline Rush from just so fast, way before that thing's ever going to run out of ammo. So you never need to stop firing. It's quite a sight to see. Obviously the damage is it's not really there, which is why I'm not going to do it. And obviously there's no real stopping power. So that's us. We're going with the Striker. For the equipment, though, I'm going to recommend. Obviously, I'm going to put an assault rifle amp on, rail amp. The ammo I'm going to recommend is Warp, actually, because of it's got a nice damage boost. It is a 60% damage boost if you've got Warp ammo 4. And obviously then there's the weakening of armor, so then, it's going to help me take out the bosses, because the Striker's not a boss killer, but if obviously I can weaken armor and just pound into them with the Striker constantly doing this Warp ammo damage, and obviously it's going to help me with barriers and stuff as well. Okay, so I am going to recommend Warp ammo. The other one I would probably recommend is Incendiary rounds, because you can obviously throw a frag grenade in after and get the fire explosion, and I'm going to be doing damage over time while you're staggering the enemy constantly, and it's still a very nice 50% damage increase with the Incendiary rounds 4. Okay, you can try the other elemental ammo, but if I was to recommend any kind of elemental ammo, it would be fire. For the armor bonus, I'm not going to go for a cyclonic modulator. I'm going with the stability module. There is a ton of kick on the Striker, and this is basically going to allow me to not have to sacrifice the extended barrel or the magazine upgrade. And I'll be honest, I don't really use the stabilization modules on anything else, so I got plenty of these to spare. So I'm going to whip one of these out, just stability module 3. And basically I'm not going to have any issues with the gun then, to be honest. And obviously because of the amount of staggering the gun's going to do, I really don't have to worry about my health too much, because I'm going to be keeping the enemy off me by just shooting at them. And for the gear bonus, I'm going to take the Warfighter package. So very much like the Shock Trooper one, I've got the assault rifle damage and the 2 extra grenades, very helpful. You can obviously take the assault rifle amp, and you could even take grenade capacity if you wanted to, but no, actually scratch it. I wouldn't waste your time with it. You're always going to be better off going for the weapon damage. We're not a grenade class. The grenades are backup and crowd control and all that kind of good stuff. So stick with the extra ammo damage. You might want to consider the assault loadout, because that's the extra thermal clip capacity, and you will burn through a lot of ammo with this build. So, on particularly big maps, it can be a bit tricky to get your hands on everything you need there. But I think that's pretty much the only gears I'd recommend. Is obviously the shield ones if you're not too confident with being that flimsy out there. But you should be good with the Striker, to be honest. Right, so let's jump into the gameplay so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, here we are. Another unknown gold with Dom and a couple of pugs here. I got a nice pink banner now to go with my pink character. Our hair and our clothes have got to coordinate. The best enemy faction you can hope for this character is actually Cerberus, because it's always great to have put the Phantoms in their place, and the Striker is one of those guns that absolutely does that. She cannot fight it. You start wailing on her with that, and all she can do is wail her hands in the air. What I'm actually going to end up getting is quite possibly the worst enemy faction you can get for her. This build. Or at least with this gun, to be fair. It's the gun I'm using. We're on normal Glacier now, and we got the Geth. Yeah, they're gonna... Because they're just gonna mess everything up, because Geth stun lock is obviously going to stop you from shooting and therefore force me to ramp up all over again, which is just another reason to hate them. But also I'm going to be giving them a lot of stagger, so it's nice to give them what they deserve, really. They're obviously putty to my sort of shield overload frag grenades as well. I can throw them into a nice group, bounce them around the corner, really soften them up, take them out. So the damage is decent. It really is quite decent. I'm not struggling at all to take out all these mook enemies here. Yeah, mook enemies. That's a term I've read off the forums. I don't know why it applies, but there you go. Mook enemies, basically any enemy that isn't a boss, you know, or a sub-boss. Dom's got the Asari Vanguard now, so his lift grenades are going to clear out some rooms on Glacier, that's for sure. See, look at that, double tapped by the rocket trooper there. Unbelievable. Firing multiple rockets in your face. So much to get frustrated by with the Geth. I'm also going to have some. Also going to get some grief off the controls of this game as well in this game, but we're still gonna pull through with little issue. To be honest, it's just the only thing you're missing is me cursing down the mic. To be honest. But as you can see, there's visibly there's like no kick, is there? That is the stability module 3. It is it really does help you out. And you know, because I can just keep the enemy off their footing constantly, then they're not returning fire as frequently. So I'm really not under a lot of fire. I'm not losing my health constantly with this extremely flimsy build. You can take cyclonic modulators and other shield stuff, but like I said, you don't really need it. Not with any, not against any enemy faction. Don's doing his Vanguard roll there. He's pretty much got the almost, I guess, full attention just down there. So this escort is just a cakewalk. I'm gonna get that done real quick. And then we're gonna try and now we're ready to go. Now there's primes on this wave, and you're really gonna get to see what I'm talking about with the adrenaline rush and the whole ramp up thing. So, can't use adrenaline rush, can't use ops pack. So when you get stun locked like that, you're just screwed. That's gonna happen to me a few times this game, unfortunately. Like I said, but here we go. So here we are. I'm in full ramp up. I'm doing nice damage, adrenaline rush, and I'm still doing full damage there. I just basically emptied like a whole clip at full power into the prime. Then it did take him out nice and fast. And that's what you can do with the ramp up guns. It's like now I don't need to reload. I can just stay ramped up. I can get the full potential of the gun out for much greater periods of time, and that's what you want, really. Bad call on trying to escape the grenades there. I wasn't able to dodge roll, so I just tried to run for it. That's because of his little stupid eye laser. Oh man, I just hate the Geth. There's so much irritation in them. Seriously, like if we were fighting like any other enemy faction, this would have just been so much better, to be honest. But still, I think it's a credit to what I'm trying to prove here, that this build still does work really nice. You don't have to worry about jumping into an unknown game with this build. If anything, it only gets better than this. That's one way to look at it. because it's the stun locker just really puts a kink in anybody who's using a ramp up gun, to be honest. It just brings everything to a halt. I was just about to pick up speed, and then he shoots me, and it's just all over. I used my adrenaline rush to give me shields ends, and I got less out of the gun, unfortunately. But I just, because I knew there was a prime and a bunch of troopers down there, I didn't want to be too soft when I came back out of cover. But now I got this guy to his back to me, so he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. Didn't have to use adrenaline rush then. Of course, I used a thermal clip pack. Because I had no ammo left in my gun, to be honest, so it was the choice to make. That allows you to squeeze almost 3 times. Well, it does. It absolutely does give you 3 times the size of your clip. You can do that with the other build too. Didn't talk about it then because I don't really make much use of it. But obviously you can empty a clip. I can adrenaline rush. Can empty my clip again, and then I can use a thermal clip, and then I got another whole clip to empty out again. So you can do that with the Claymore build. So that's 3 Claymore shots with a human soldier, or obviously you can just have a clip size that's a clip that's 3 times the size for one of these ramp up guns. So fantastic potential there. We got targets. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to nuke the first one. If it's wave 10, well, I'll nuke them all, to be honest, but if you get it earlier on, 3 and 6, you can take out the first one. He'll be in one of the big spawns, he'll be surrounded by enemies, and what that does, that actually resets the enemy that's the target. If we had killed the Prime on his own, the next target would have been another Prime, but because he was killed with a load of other small enemies, the target changed to one of the smaller enemies, and I think it became rocket troopers. So it just makes the rest of the wave so much easier. So it's nice. It is a nice little strategy to just nuke the first one. But that was what just happened after that. Though was what I was talking about earlier. Getting screwed by the controls of the game. I wanted to use an ops pack, and my character just built out his rockets. It's an issue I get a lot with. I think it's mainly down. It's not the game. I think it's the Xbox pad actually. I read a lot when I was into I played a lot of Mortal Kombat before, and from the gaming community I've sort of read up on how the Xbox's D-pad is really quite bad. And I just have very frequently, I just find that almost any time I try to use one of my consumables, it always just brings up my rockets and frequently gets me killed. Actually, it's really, really frustrating. I'll try to use a thermal clip or an ops pack, and my character will just go into that long animation of switching to the rocket launcher, and then I'm forced to switch back to my weapon, and it just leaves me vulnerable for such a long period of time. It frequently gets me killed. It's very, very frustrating. I think I just decided to take a rage rocket at that point. It's like, oh, I'm dead here. I might as well just kill the enemies all around me. Stupid thing. It was determined to give me rockets. Why not use them? Just getting bombarded by the rocket troopers there, though. I mean, of course, there's no shield bonuses here. I'm going with base shields and health on one of the base human characters. So when I do receive return fire, it definitely hurts. And unfortunately, the Geth are an enemy that are going to return fire on me, because they're going to lock me up and then leave me vulnerable. Whereas like all the other factions, you'll just keep them off their feet constantly. Great. There's very little stress when you're going up against the likes of Cerberus and the Reapers and stuff. Even the Collectors for a lot of it. Any of the Collector troops you can deal with, but obviously there's a lot of bosses with the Collectors, and they take a lot more to stagger. See, there you go. Use a thermal clip pack, and the counter brought the rockets. I was fortunate enough to be able to get plenty of cover then. But it's an issue I get a lot with the damn D-pad. Something else I'll be cursing. I was cursing over the mic. Dom was asking, so are we using this video then? It's like, yeah, it's going alright. But there you can see there's some really great crowd control potential and some, you know, really decent damage. And this is using a striker. I mean, you could always play more defensively with a Typhoon and just take out bosses like no tomorrow. I'm not a fan of the Typhoon though. It's not a gun I like. Its weight and its incredible kick and the fact that it's a ramp-up gun as well is it's just so much that I so much against it. It really does just put me off it. It is a lot of drawbacks to the gun. Although you know, I'm not ignorant to the fact that it is pretty. With you know, you put it all together right. That's another thing. It requires a lot of work. The Typhoon. It really does. I mean, you absolutely. I mean, if you really want to do well with the Typhoon, you want the high velocity barrel. You want armor piercing rounds for. You want it at level 10. You know. It demands a lot of you to squeeze the best out of it, whereas something like this, the Striker's a lot damn sight easier to get your hands on, damn sight easier to level up, and easier and requires less of you. All it needs is a magazine upgrade and some stability, really. Like I said, we were telling you before, you can go with the elemental ammos, warp ammo works. It's a projectile weapon, so don't use armor piercing or drill. You can use phasic, I suppose, but I wouldn't recommend it. You know. Right. I'm gonna take out. Wait, Dom's rushing to take out that spawn down there, so I'm gonna take out this spawn up here. This is the kind of stuff you'll see in sort of speed runs. It's all about locking down all the spawns, so the enemy have only really got two positions, and it's just one guy running back and forth, nuking the spawn every time they arrive. And you, as a team, you can all sort of do that. You can orchestrate which spawn you're going to go for, and just speed up the waves. I just want dead Geth. The prime's just annoying. I think I can't stagger him too frequently, but he's only got to shoot me once, and I'm off my foot there. Look, see, that was me trying to use an ops pack. I got my rocket out again. Oh, I was raging at this point. I was raging. See, adrenaline rush, and I was just able to take over the kill feed there with just the bombardment from this gun. It's really, it's a fun build. Give it a go. Like I said, there's two really great ways to use adrenaline rush, and this is the other one. If you're going to ask me which one's the best, it's definitely the Claymore one. That's so much better. This one's more fun. Well. Not actually more fun, but it's more fun orientated. The gameplay it brings, you know, you can have. Whereas the Claymore one's kind of play hard mode, you know. That's a build to just take out if you really want to do well. This one it's not really platinum ready. The Claymore one is platinum ready. If you were to take this build to platinum, I'd probably recommend a Typhoon and playing a lot more defensively. Striker's just it's just not that great against armor, and you know, like I said, there's just so many bosses in platinum. No, that's just going to leave you with a serious drawback in the game. Another reason why I just don't like. Another reason I don't like platinum. It really limits what you can do. It's like gold's limitless, to be honest. I mean, you can play try hard gold and just burn through it, but you can have fun in gold. You can do silly things like this. Whereas if you wanted to try something daft like this in platinum, you're really going to need a team to support you, really. It's important that you have fun with the game. It really is, with any game. Just clear that up there so the guy's not gonna just get the device done. Got rockets to spare, why not? Geth turret. Very inaccurate to shoot this from the hip, which I did forget in that portion. I just knew the pyro was just really up in my face. I wanted to sort of stagger him, but he was not staggering, and it wasn't clicking. But it's because I was trying to shoot the gun from the hip. Yeah, so this is extraction now. We're going to just sort of wrap things up. Don't know if I mentioned it before, but obviously the top lab's probably the best place to hold out in this map. But Glacier is just such a small map. I wouldn't recommend holding out in it, to be honest. It's just you're better off kind of kiting the enemy around the map and just making sure they're not all ganged up at LZ when you need to be there. And obviously, I don't know if that's clear, but obviously by kiting I mean you lead them away. Right? So imagine a string coming from you to the enemy, and you're just sort of leading them around the map, so you can just sort of kite them to one area to the other. Because the enemy are going to follow you wherever you go. The enemy are programmed to never ever be lost. As long as there's a player alive, they're going to find you. They got like a little peekaboo code. To be honest, it's like if they're ever in a position where there's just nobody around them, they'll just sort of get they'll just receive a little bit of info of where you are on the map, and they're going to start heading in that direction. And then eventually they'll find you, and they're just going to go with normal protocol then. But yeah. You'll never find enemies just scratching their head in the corner of the map wondering what to do next. They're always going to be on your way, so something to consider, especially when you're doing your solo runs. There you go, that's not a bad time for what I was doing on Glacier. It's 18:30. And that's the other way to use Adrenaline Rush, okay? We're going to be bringing out some Krogan goodness for the next soldier, so don't you worry about that. I'm not going to just keep playing the humans to death now. We are going to be moving on. Hope you enjoy the gameplay. I'll see you in the next video.